everybody, Sandamtod here, driving to work in the dark until it turns, until daylight savings time ends. It's like dark as shit here until about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's only 7:30, plus it's rainy today. So, you know, that's the cherry on the sundae, I guess. Thought I'd do one of these good old-fashioned video responses to a good friend of mine on here, been one of my longtime friends and subscribers, Snestastic. Yeah, he's a great guy, and I'm sure you guys know who he is. And I'm doing a video response because he recently put up a video about how prolific was gaming piracy in your life growing up, and kind of what are your thoughts on it. I think is the general gist of what he was asking, and he kind of told of his experiences of it and how it really didn't seem like that big of a deal at the time because everybody did it, you know, and I can understand that. I'll put the link to his video down below so you can see his original vid. If you're not subbed to him, really, I'd be surprised. But if you're not, you know, go over and check him out and check out his vid. As far as piracy goes in my life growing up, how prolific was it? I didn't even know about it. I mean, and part of that is my growing up, I really didn't have anybody in the house that was interested in video games or computer gaming or any kind of computers or anything. I was the only one that was really interested in that stuff. So my mom, she didn't condone it, but she didn't you know, say I couldn't have it either. It was just one of those deals that she thought it was a waste of money. So she wasn't going to spend money on it or buy it for me or anything. So the only way I ever got video games was to buy them myself. And we didn't have a computer in the house growing up. And I was probably like 13 or 14 before I even got a video game system, and that was the Atari 2600. And, you know, my stepdad did work with a guy who was able to get a hold of loose card Atari games for like $1 or $2 a cartridge. So I remember one Christmas they gave me like 30 or so Atari games and some paddles and a bunch of other stuff. I don't know where the guy was getting it, that my stepdad was getting it from, but you know, I mean, that's not really piracy. That's just like, you know, I don't even know what it is, because it was like loose card. It wasn't like they were brand new, like they fell off the back of a truck, you know, kind of deal. Really, piracy, I didn't know that it even really was possible or existed. I remember kind of in my late teens, I remember hearing that there were certain machines you could buy where you could imprint the chips and make, you know, copies of cartridges, but I didn't know how you would ever be able to get a hold of anything like that or do anything like that. And it really wasn't, you know, at that time. I mean, Pete even says it in his video, you know, times change, and as I got older, I mean, it was something that I was already in the workforce, you know, earning money. And when you're first out of the box and you get your first job and you're still kind of finding your feet, it seems like you have just a lot of mad money, you know. And I, at that time, when I was 18 years old, bought a Genesis, a Sega CD, and a Super Nintendo within a year and a half of each other. And, you know, I was buying games for all of them, you know, and it seemed like I still had money left over. So as far as like pirating things, I didn't really even know it existed until the CD-based games came out. Was kind of when it started to know that I heard that you could burn CDs and make copies of Sega CD games and stuff and play them on the system. But even at that time, even though I heard it was possible, CD burners weren't very prominent. They weren't around yet, and I didn't know anybody that really had a home computer even until I was in my early 20 or so. the guy that's been a great friend for years, and my ex-roommate, Jake, he got a computer, a home computer, because he was going to start going to school for learning web design and things like that. And his father had passed away, which was kind of a sad deal. It was kind of a sudden deal. But his dad had left him a lot of money, not a lot, but left him a chunk in a trust fund, and he was able to buy a computer. And I remember the computer that he bought at that time, he spent almost $4,000 on this computer, and it was a PC. And today you could probably get all that shit for about, $300. I mean, that's the way technology's changed since then. But I remember, if I would have had a way to copy games, or I had a home computer and could have made copies of discs and done it, I probably would have done it. I'm not saying I wouldn't have. It just wasn't around. So the first time I ever really even considered pirating anything was probably when Napster and Morpheus came around, and the peer-to-peer, and I started getting all this music off the internet. That was kind of the first, big wave of kind of stuff where I was kind of went hog wild, finding all this different music and bootlegs and imports that I didn't know about, things like that for bands I liked, and that was kind of where my piracy started, was with music and stuff. And then one day my roommate came home and he's like, hey, this guy at work, or at school tonight, not work, had a laptop, and on it he's got a program that'll run Zelda: Link to the Past. And I'm like, really? And he goes, yeah, he had other Super Nintendo games too, but this program would just run these games, like they were the real deal, like on a real console. And I go, I got to see this. And he goes, well, and we went online and we found an emulator and some ROMs, and his computer was a little older at that point. I think it might have even been the same one that he was using, and it had probably been 3 or 4 years. And I think it ran a little jerky on his system, like the emulator we downloaded was a little buggy or something. But it pretty much was Link to the Past, And that's when I was like, ooh, this is interesting, And I dove into sailing the high seas of the internet to collect ROMs. And I got them from various places. I don't remember at this point. I probably used the peer-to-peer, either LimeWire or Morpheus or Napster or something, to download some of them. Eventually, I think I found different websites where you could download ROMs and stuff. And, at that time, it didn't seem wrong to me. It was like there. I wasn't like having to hack into anything to get them. They were just sitting there, like, here, like you'd find money on the ground, here, take them, and so I took them, and I've got a ton of that stuff on the modded Xbox and things like that today. But to tell you the truth, as far as like pirating throughout the CD-based systems and stuff, I really only do it now if there's a game on a system, a retro system like a Dreamcast or a PlayStation or a Sega CD or 3DO, that I want to check out that I've never heard about before, which is, it's not really possible with the Sega CD. I've heard of all the games, but, but 3DO or Dreamcast, every once in a while something will come up and I'll be like, hey, I would like to check that out. And I'll go on eBay and look, and the game will be like super expensive. Like, I have a copy of Seaman for the Dreamcast. This is just a, example. And it's loose. I mean, I have the disc, and then I have the little microphone and stuff. But to get a box copy of it now is like $100+ at least. And I was talking about in my D gameplay, that game on the 3DO, I think I found a loose disc copy for about $60 or so. but most of the next cheapest one was a boxed copy, which is what I would really want. And I think it was like $200 or $250, and up to like $350, you know. And that game's not worth that money. But I wanted to see if it was any better on the 3DO than the PlayStation, because like some of the games that were on the Sega CD that they put on the PlayStation or on the 3DO were leaps and bounds. The quality was better on the videos, and the layouts were usually easier to control and stuff, but D pretty much is what it is, and it didn't look any better. And I'm not going to pay $90 for discs. I mean, it's a game that would be nice to have in my 3DO catalog, but I want it complete then, and I'm not going to pay $300. I'm not going to do it. So, you know, in order to show the game on a gameplay, or to just check it out to see if it's even worth the money that they're asking for the hard media, I will kind of quote unquote pirate it and download it and burn it off and check it out, you know. And if I don't really want it, I keep the CD, the game that I burned, and I don't chuck it. Maybe I should, you know, I guess, really, if I wanted to be morally correct, you know, after I check it out, I should probably chuck it away. But, you know, I don't. And, but I'm a collector first. I always have been. Gaming, I love gaming. I used to be pretty competitive when I was younger. We would go back and forth, oh, I beat this game, you know. It was like, I beat more games than you know, that kind of deal. And it's like, you know, now I'm a collector, so I want the hard media. So piracy to me is not really even in my mind, because it's just like, I'd rather have the hard media and stuff, and because I'm a collector. So I don't really think it comes into my day-to-day life too much, and I don't really say much about it, you know. I mean, I'll mention every once in a while because I want people to enjoy themselves and have fun and compete in gaming challenges and stuff. And I'm like, if you have access to an emulator, you can get an emulator, or you have one and you don't have the real game, use the emulator to do the challenge. I just want to have some fun, you know. And it's like, I might not tell you where to go get one, but I don't say don't use one, you know. I'm like, you people are smart. You know how to find that stuff if you really want to find it. How hard is it to look for NES ROMs in Google search, you know, or a Super Nintendo emulator, you know? I mean, it's really not that hard. So, you know, and it's like Pete said, it doesn't seem like that big a deal, because it just seems like, you know, like I said, like a $20 bill laying on the ground or something, and it's just like, why wouldn't you pick it up, you know? So anyway, I'm going to sign off. This is kind of just a quick little talkie in the car while I'm driving to work, and I had the stupid dome light on the whole time, which I probably shouldn't have. But, you know, whatever. I hope you will go over and see Pete's video, and hey, Pete. This is a response to you, buddy. I like doing response videos, but I don't always have something good to say or worth saying to say. I kind of felt like I was gonna, well, ramble, but who's surprised by that when they listen to me? Because I really didn't have a lot to say as far as growing up, how it affected me. But, you know, everybody's got their own opinions on it, you know, just like everybody's got opinions on drugs or alcohol or religion or politics or whatever. And I'm just like, everybody's got their own opinion, and live and let live, you know. So anyway, thanks for coming by and checking this out, and links below for Pete's vid. So talk to you later. Bye.